I'm back in Bristol. As you can see by the fact there's a calendar over my shoulder. And I'm in my horribly dark yet bright, lighting bad room. Now this week I could probably talk about a good many things. As it's been the sort of Botcon weekend, I could go on about some of the reveals that have been made there. I'm slightly excited for some bits, but it seems like, I don't know, there hasn't been much that no one's been expecting. There's been that big sound wave that he put the disc things in his chest that are like Laserbeak and Ravage, but when I then saw pictures of it, I'm just not bothered. It looks like this new generation's lot, they're all going to be like War for Cybertron, Fall for Cybertron, they're all the game designs. When I heard about this Soundwave, I was expecting a proper Classics one, but no, it doesn't look like we're going to get any proper Classics figures for a while. It's all going to be Cybertronian stuff, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. It's good, because that's what we're getting in the comics at the moment, and there are a lot of characters in the comics that you sort of think, yes, I would actually want a toy of that design, but the main sort of game designs that they're using in the comics at the moment have already been made into toys. There's already a deluxe Soundwave that looks like that, and this new one just looks bigger, and it has some more paint on it. It's not really sort of tugging at my brain at all. It's something I'd probably pick up if I eventually saw it, but I'm not really sure at the moment. I'm not excited by many of these Botcon reveals. The Voyager Dreadwing just looks like a bigger version of the Cyberverse one that we're getting soon. Most of the Prime stuff is stuff that we already know about, and it's more about the Generations reveals. I'm liking the look of that kickback. I can't tell what the hell it turns into, but it looks pretty good, I suppose. So it's a bit of a mixed bag this year. It feels like it's been quite a long time since we've had anything really earth-shattering, like I suppose it must have been Botcon 2010 when we had all like figures like Scourge and Cup and all those upcoming Generations figures revealed. That was exciting. This year doesn't really seem to be, because I suppose through other sources all these new Prime figures and all that sort of thing are already known about. So anything they're revealing over this weekend is just superfluous. That might be exciting, but it doesn't look like there's going to be a lot of it. One thing I did like about looking through all these pictures that various sites have been putting up is the little display they had for all the Prime figures, be they new or ones we've already got. It looked really cool. It had like all of them coming out of the ground bridge and fights and things. That's how they should be displayed in shops. It just makes you think, oh, that's cool. You know, I even put in little things like half of the Legion cliff jumper underneath the Energon drill or something. I thought it was just done really well, and that's how figures like that should be displayed. I'd definitely be up for seeing more of that sort of thing. So Botcon blah blah out of the way, on to this week's plastic. It's been a week for combiners, I must say, because after having another sort of impulse buy that was slightly more expensive than the last one I did, bagged myself Power Core Combiners Steam Hammer for under 20 quid, which is good because everywhere I've ever seen it's been going quite expensive, and then it's been quite cheap, and then I sort of missed out on getting it cheap, so it was under 20 quid. I'm happy because this is a very, very nice set. It's probably the best one. I'm not sure at the moment. I really do like the way the robot, the big robot, turns out. All the limbs look really good. Like, this is a very good foot, this sort of shovelly scoop bit, and I like how you've got a foot with a wheel in like that, and he's actually got thumbs on his hands, even though this arm is a lot shorter than this one. There just seems a bit more articulate, a bit of a better robot, and I like the head sculpt. It's all good. And another thing I think I really like, actually it might be the thing I like the best, is just that these separate vehicles are things which we've never seen as Transformers before and probably will never see properly. I mean, you've got this drilly thing, you've got this thing which is essentially, it's like a digger that scoops up stuff to go on a conveyor belt that then tips off the back of it. This big shovelly thing, this steamroller, they're great little vehicles. That's something that I suppose it might have been a compensatory measure. The little drone limbs, they all seem to have really good modes that aren't arms or legs, probably to make up for the fact they don't have robot modes. But I'm very happy with this guy, and I suggest you pick one up as well, because it's just something you can't be disappointed by. It ticks the sort of old school Constructicon homage, and then just adds a lot of new stuff in there, and it's completely different. It's definitely, obviously not some sort of wannabe Devastator. Just look at the face. It's very sort of almost insecty and classic sort of 1950s B-movie robot. I like that. On to the second piece, which is something snapped up from Matter Smasher after he said he suddenly decided to get rid of it and was having it go half the price of a boxed version. And I know he keeps his stuff in pretty good nick. He's actually tightened up some of the joints. It's a Beast Wars Tripredacus. It's an unholy abomination of a thing. It's all legs and carapace and claws, and it's just, it's horrid, it's grotesque. I love every inch of it because it's just so unbelievably evil looking. All of these different bug bits, you've got this funny claw weapon. These are actually missiles that fire. And it just, somehow it really works. It looks like some horrible, tremendous, fear-inducing bug beast man, and it's not quite as big as I was expecting, but it is pretty big, towers over a lot of the other Beast Wars stuff. It's everything about creatures like this that makes them slightly unsettling, crammed into one thing. It's got legs poking out where it shouldn't, and if you look on the sort of sides of his chest, that's sort of catching it in the light there, looks like he's got ribs, bony sort of rib bits. And the individual figures, I think, are pretty darn good as well. They tend to be a bit basic, the robot mode sort of style. Their legs are all basically, you know, the same sort of look, the sort of pointy knees. You know what Beast Wars Predacon legs look like, basically, if you've seen one. But it's the beast modes that I really like. It's when I got them out of somehow a seemingly insanely small box that Matter Smasher sent them in. I think it was Ramhorn, who makes the arms here in a very clever and complicated fashion, that struck me because I just loved the colour of this shell. It's not really picking it up at all because you're seeing more through it because of where the light is, but it's so lovely and shiny. It's a really nice shiny brown. That doesn't really sound very appealing, but to me, I've had toys from the 90s that I look at and you don't really get colours of plastic like that anymore, and this is one of them. It just looks really, really nice, and it's the perfect colour for a really nice big beetle, which is something that I think I've been subconsciously needing in my Beast Wars collection, because it's just really good looking insect. It's just, it has to be made into one of these figures, and now I've got one, I'm really happy. The lobster as well, Sea Clamp, who makes the trousers here. The lobster mode is great. It's really gnarly and rough. The texturing on it is really good, and he's also made of this sort of shiny brown but vaguely purple sort of stuff like original Tarantulas is made out of. It's vaguely translucent and it looks really good. I'm a very big fan of Predacons. I never really got many Maximals in the day, just because at that age I think every child would prefer some sort of grotesque creepy crawly over like a cat. Come on. I would say that the central piece, Cicadacon here, is the only slight letdown. His beast mode is a bit small, got nice big wings on it, and yeah, it looks like the insect it's meant to be. but it just looks a bit funny. They're not really bugs that really look any good to me. They're all really nice, and I'm very happy to have finally got this, because it had become a little bit of a grail maybe, but it's really expensive to get boxed. I almost got one from King Grimlock, but I thought I can't really justify spending 40-50 quid on it. I'd wait till I have more money, and then when I got more money it was gone. So I thought it'd be best to snap up Matter Smasher's loose one, and it's really made no difference to me that I haven't had it boxed at all, because it's in perfect condition. Just not much more to say other than it's just excellent. I can't quite understand why he parted with it. I do know that he is looking for the Japanese versions of them all, which are actually Maximals, which then I don't understand why that would be the case when they combine to form this monstrosity, but good luck to him. He's looking for, I believe, is it Gimlet or Motor Arm? The final piece of the puzzle. So if you could help him out on that front, that'd be great. So as you can probably tell, I'm very happy with this. The arms, perhaps not so much. They're just made up of abstract halves of the beetle mode. I mean, I suppose that is nearly a hand, but I don't know. It's not bad. I just really like this, and thumbs up for Hideous Bugmen, I suppose. So I suppose it's time to conclude this week's offerings. I do know that I'm receiving another parcel from Brent, a little Transformers The Ride Legion class evac, which is one of the new Legion figures that hasn't come out over here yet, so I'm happy to be getting that. Might still pick one up when they come out over here though, because I think it could be another one which I could try my customising hand on. It's a bit of an abstract vehicle mode, so I could probably turn him into someone else quite easily. And also because I know he's sending me mine without the box. And when it comes to Legion figures, I like to have the backing card through some sort of obsessive, compulsive thing like that. I just like to go through them all and see which ones I've got. And with this being the last week of April, we move into May, which means that you should all be participating in Transform Away with Ernest. I've already done my sort of bit, sending my old beaten up boot fair Unicron to Dorian. It was worth the £6 postage just to see the look on his face when he opened that box. It was good, man, you. I mean, he left his address on my box of Iron Brew. What was I to do? I had to send him something. I also know that I'll be receiving a Robots in Disguise Super Prowl, I believe, from the Shio on Twitter. I don't know if he has a YouTube account or if that's his name on YouTube, if he does, but I'm getting one from him, and I'm looking forward to that, because I don't have any RID deluxe figures. You know, the old 2001 lot that was Car Robots, not the new Prime line. So that'll be fun. I think, yes, Transform Away is going to roll on to a very nice end, and I think definitely it will be something that people will participate in next year, if they haven't already gotten rid of everything they want to get rid of now. I'll see you in your nightmares.